Yo, yo, what's up, good people? The boys from the Phantom Geek Zone, we're back once more. We got another dope episode for y'all. As per usual, I'm Izzy,
I'm Riyaal.
and today we're going to be continuing with our DCEU recap series, and we're going to be talking about Blue Beetle. The interesting one, primarily because it seems like as far as I mean, obviously all the main guys are gonna get recast.
Yeah.
Yeah, Superman, Batman, whatever. But I think this is the only one I've seen where people are clamoring for the same dude and of course, same sub-universe to be imported into the DCU. Yeah. So
Okay.
going into it, this is my first time watching it. It dropped, I
Okay.
think, yeah, like 2023. I didn't check it out at the time. Um, I think the reviews were like mixed to positive, but it made me curious as far as, okay, how's it going to turn out? Let's see what all the fuss is about. And with that background established, what is your overall take from this?
So this is my rewatch.
Oh, okay.
So I had watched it before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I mean, the first time I watched it, I liked it.
Yeah.
It was nothing special.
Yeah.
Pretty much the same now. I liked it. Nothing really special.
Yeah, yeah.
What comes to mind is it's what I think DC wanted to be for the Hispanic community, what Black Panther was for the Black community.
Yeah, yeah.
Didn't hit the same notes in my opinion. And I wanted more Blue Beetle in my story
Yeah.
rather than the family, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, it's nothing special from my end. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
if you got nothing better to do, give it a watch. But other than that, you don't have to waste your time.
Yeah.
As to what your comment earlier to say, they want the subset of the universe in. Me, if I had to choose, I'd choose the main guy, Jaime. Don't really care too much for anyone else being brought across. Yeah.
For me, man, it was frustratingly watchable. And I say that because, yeah, if you watch it, cool, it's not necessarily a waste of
Yeah.
2 hours, but the frustration comes through from how much was right there,
Yeah.
and yet they just chose to leave. I don't know if it's the usual story, studio mandates or whatever, or if from the jump that's kind of what the story started off as. Because I definitely agree with what you're saying as far as they wanted, that same kind of representation
Yeah.
element. Because again, representation has become such a, I don't know, this toxic word, so to speak. And it's crazy because we've had it our entire lives. I mean, damn near from the beginning of filmmaking. It's always just been a matter of, I suppose, portrayal, substance, all of that stuff. But it's nothing new. Now, whenever you have someone who isn't white, it's like, oh, you're trying to be woke, you're trying to be this. And it's like, nah. I mean, have you heard about Blade? Have you heard about Black Panther? And a lot of the times, right, it's a matter of people looking at the film world as its own isolated thing. But if you look, into the comics, then it's like, no, man, these things have been happening, for the longest time. It's, of course, nothing new, and we can go on and on, even with non-comic book movies as far as that point is concerned. But that aside, for me, it'll always just come down to, is the story good or not?
Yeah.
No matter who's starring in it, does it make sense? And the level of potential in this, I think, is arguably more than any other DCEU movie, which wasn't, centered around any of the marquee characters. Hence my frustration. But we'll get into the specifics of that as we break it down. So, never mind my not having seen it before, I also know nothing about Blue Beetle.
Okay.
And this being an origin story, I can't say I know much about him. So
It wasn't a Blue Beetle movie.
that's definitely one of the frustrating things.
Yeah, the direction was off.
Yeah.
Like Trevor Noah says, the world goes there,
And then they were like,
so
no,
go that way.
we are gonna go. Yeah, you know. And here's my estimation as to why that happened. I think if you look now, and I mean, we acknowledge this, I don't remember the exact movie. At this point, all of them just kind of, muddle together whenever we try
It's what is it?
to recall.
It's a Tarantino verse.
Yeah,
It's a
whole
disjointed,
bag of mixed spaghetti, It's a hot mess.
and it's not linear.
No. My point is, we've mentioned before that when it comes to certain characters, if we've seen them at least 2 times before, we don't need to get into the weeds of their backstory. And if you look at the success of, if we're talking, look, Superman, as at this point, is like what? As at the point of the release of the movie, is 2 years away. It hasn't even been announced that we're gonna remake, Superman or anything like that. But looking at Superman itself, they didn't get into the nitty gritties of the backstory, but that's fine because you've been
seen
seeing
it so many
Superman,
times,
right? With Batman, we don't need to do that anymore. With Spider-Man,
Spider-Man,
we don't need to do that anymore. Blue Beetle ain't any of those dudes,
Not a main character even.
Technically, because if you look at some of the elements, I'm like, aye man, I'm seeing him, I'm seeing that, I'm seeing, but yeah, we'll get there. But yes, not a marquee character, and never mind, the fact that we haven't seen him before on screen. Hardly even, I mean, cartoons. I've never heard of Blue Beetle before.
I've seen
man. I
him
don't
in
know.
cartoons.
Okay.
I know the one iteration he's, as they mentioned, a world-killing
Yeah.
weapon.
Okay.
The other one is he's like the arch enemy of the Lanterns, the Green Lanterns.
okay.
Yeah. So obviously you can fact check me on that, but yeah, that's what I know.
Yeah. But yeah, for me, I'd assume that you in like the super minority as far as people knowing about him.
Just that little bit, yeah.
But even if there's a good number of people that do know about him, this is the first time that you put
You've
on
seen
this
him
scale.
on big screen, yeah.
Tell us the full story. You said you had an issue with the family. I didn't mind the family that much. I just feel the overall dynamic could have been fleshed out a bit more, especially as far as their place in the world, their place in society, so that certain points could hit home. There's that overarching story of they are the have-nots, and then the haves not only have, but they want to take some of what's theirs. And the first time I watched it, I was like, okay, cool. And then I went back again, and the rewatch only served to emphasize the things that these guys missed out on. And one element, sticking with the whole haves and have-nots, they keep speaking about the Code Corporation, which is in a sense a stand-in, for capitalism and rich people at large. That soon they're gonna want to take what's ours and all of that stuff. And yet, when I watched it the second time, I realized, there was like a quick little pan that they did showing Starbucks coming soon. And then right next to it, it was something about like new developments coming. And then outside their yard, there was a little placard for code that said under new management, So I feel like those things were brushed by so quickly, whereas it could have added to the fact, because for us, especially those that don't pick up on these, it seems like, okay, they're just living on that side, cool, they're not well off or anything like that, but you don't get a sense of the infringement that's pending. So I'm like, you left that to the side, even when they said, we're from the other side of the tracks, and the next thing they're gonna want what we have. It seems like a fear of what's possible, what may come, but not necessarily guaranteed. But those things show that it's already in progress, So I feel like that kind of fell to the wayside. The family dynamic, I would have loved a bit more of the history, I didn't mind the teaser with the grandmother, like, back then she was a revolution.
I didn't like it.
I didn't like that they left it at that. For me, it's like, if you're going to introduce it, see it through, like flesh the whole thing out, Again, the Blue Beetle thing, again, only second time. So generally, I'm not a fan of opening sequences in movies. I feel like, hey man, just get to it, Even on YouTube if I'm watching, whether it's a podcast or
Yeah.
whatever. I don't like the coming up and, hey, fast forward. I want to get right to the thing. And the second time I watched it, I was like, okay, let me pay attention a bit to the title sequence. Only then did I see that this scarab or whatever thing seemingly came from space in the media and whatever, but no one said anything remotely close to that. So I think, and not only could I go on, I will. I just want to see on your part maybe some of the things that you feel let you down in terms of, you saying, look, if you watched it, cool. If you
Yeah,
didn't,
it's
don't
okay.
bother. Yeah.
For me, it's the family dynamic, as I mentioned.
Yeah.
I'm on the opposite end. Okay, maybe I agree with your point. Like, why shoehorn the grandma thing being a revolutionary and not say more about it?
Yeah.
Just don't have it there. Because it's a little bit too on the nose.
Yeah.
Now you've got this granny that's like 80, 90 years old, like killing special forces people in their prime. Like, even the suspension of disbelief, sometimes I couldn't suspend my disbelief.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's like this family, and now all of a sudden they're beating special forces. In what world does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
I felt like the movie was a bit long.
Okay.
Yeah, it took a while to get where it needed to be, but then it didn't get where it needed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the sense that the title is Blue Beetle, but half the movie is his family trying to save him. I'm like, and you could have spent that time giving background as to what the scarab is, what it relates to, how it does. I don't know. I felt like the direction of the story. Maybe this is just me. Yeah. It wasn't where I wanted it to go.
Yeah.
Because Susan Sarandon really like killed it as Victoria Cord, one of the Mama Cord.
Aunt Cord, yeah.
Aunt Cord. She killed it. Like, you could see, she felt evil. She knew what she wanted. Even Carapax, I liked his little story arc, the redemption. That was pretty cool. But he seemed menacing and like a mercenary, as he's been portrayed. So on the villain side, they kind of pulled it together, but on the protagonist side and the relationships, I don't know. Like, shout out George Lopez for he did his thing, but I don't know. It just, something was amiss with me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we're likely in for an interesting discussion, right? So, George Lopez, funny enough, I actually don't like the guy. I find him overrated. He's boring. A lot of, he's a comedian, of course, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of comedians.
But in this movie specifically?
No. I'm going to get to that, right? So, with a lot of comedians, from my side, anyways, I may not like the comedy, but I tend to like the personality. That usually is something. If someone is like popping, whether it's established or new, then I'll follow one path or the other. With him on both fronts, the comedy didn't do it for me. His personality, interviews, all of that, it never did anything for me. This time, however, I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I actually kind of liked this character, right?
A deadbeat uncle.
Yeah, it's like weird. Deadbeat genius uncle. I'm like, I don't know,
like
is he lazy?
Anti-establishment.
Yeah, Mr. Conspiracy Theorist and all of that. I was like, okay, cool. And I don't mind that character, because for a bit I was like, is this cliche or what? I was like, no, we actually don't see this anymore. Yeah, once in a while it'll pop up. So I was like, okay, cool.
This was the once in a while.
Little throwback, so I didn't mind that. The family dynamic. So for me, here's why. I will say again, it wasn't as fresh as it should be.
Yeah.
But it's base level. I don't mind it because Blue Beetle's Jaime's central story is around them and him having to basically be, the breadwinner, take care of the fam and that sort of thing. So them being so attached or, shown so much and being such a part of his story makes sense, because it's like, okay, it's kind of laying the foundation as to what and how much these people mean to him. However, they half-assed that aspect. So that's my gripe where that's concerned. But as far as them being around, because it's like, yeah, man, it's a close-knit family. I get it. Susan Sarandon, funny enough, I feel like, again, I think the theme for this movie is going to be half-assing, basically, to just establish that her villainy was half-assed. The mission, cool, but I don't know, it's almost like the personal motivation, they could have gone a few steps further than what they did. I mean, there's a story about the grandfather building the company
the
with
brother,
her
yeah.
and then skipping over her to hand the company to someone else, right? It's kind of like they hint at the fact that the grandfather wanted direction to be changed and she wasn't going to do it. But I don't know, maybe a flashback or maybe have her, a young soliloquy, something to really drive that point home. The thing with her and what's the right hand man's name again?
Carapax.
Yeah. Their story, yes, he was, that villain menacing. But then when I saw the backstory at the end, I'm like, nah, man, that is another thing that could have been fleshed
Yeah.
out. So basically, Jaime's story was so intertwined with everyone else's. There's like 3 other characters at least where I'm like, if they had taken the time, I agree. The first half definitely,
Yeah.
a hell of a drag.
It's a slog, yeah.
If they had used that to move from one character and then to the next and then to the other, show their background, establish their motivations, and then converge to him and his story, I think that would have done quite the justice for this movie. Because even the girl and her dad, only at the very end, and like mid-credit scene, like how, I don't know, man, how bold slash stupid of the writer slash studio, whoever decided that we're gonna shoehorn this at the very, very end. No, man, get that from the jump, that
beginning, yeah.
homie's alive, like what's his story?
That's why she
and,
wants the scarab as well.
and what in the world even happened to him? That's another backstory we could have seen at some point. The whole thing, I'm like, okay, he was a billionaire, he built this thing, but like, what's the story? This blue beetle, where does it come? Spider-Man is Spider-Man
Show
because he
us-
was built, bit by a spider. Simple as that. Why blue beetle? Like, where does that story fit in? So, I don't know, what is it you wanted them to show us?
Yeah, no, I would like to show us some background of the old Blue Beetle, like
Yes.
some clips on TV or something.
Yeah, George Lopez pops in.
Seems
He's
like,
like,
yeah,
yo,
he had so much more
your dad
character.
was the Blue Beetle, whatever. But I'm like, what attachment do we have
we've got
to,
nothing
to
to it,
Blue
yeah.
Beetle? They didn't even once call him Blue Beetle. It's like named Blue Beetle, but in a sense, I don't know if we're meant to assume that he's now Blue Beetle or if it's still just the dad or
I see. Yeah.
because it's also like 2 separate things. The scarab chooses its host, but it didn't choose the dad. The dad went by Blue Beetle, but used a whole other set of
Yeah.
2. So there's such a disconnect
Lots
there,
of open-endedness.
Yeah,
which I
and
didn't
not
like.
in a fun way.
Yeah.
I think, again, hence my comment about the arrogance, because how brave of you to assume you've done enough
To get another movie.
to get another movie and to leave us intrigued about it. No, it's not intrigue, it's frustration that you've left us with. Any other elements you think would have been nice to see?
Nice to see. Let's see. Look, I will say, like, I did like. Let me go on a bit of a positive note here. The Blue Beetle costume design. I don't know how you felt about it. It looked nice. It looked good.
Yeah.
As you say, it looks real, it feels real, and it had a good balance of the CGI to the actual. I don't know what they make the costume.
Yeah,
of.
like the practical
spandex.
thing. Yeah.
So really like that. What I didn't like about the suit is, and we've chatted this before, the AI or whatever, the scarab's voice. Can you choose the most robotic, soulless voice ever?
Yeah.
Apparently, this movie can. Like, I don't know. I didn't resonate with it. There was no character behind the scarab because it's saying it's like they even alluded to it. It's a sentient being.
Yeah.
It chooses, and surely it should have some sort of personality. But
Yeah.
we've got nothing. Yeah, I don't know.
For me, I like the look of it.
Yeah.
But not, I think the visual texture could have been a bit better, Yeah, like if it's a matter of, yes, it looked real, but you must remember, real is one thing. There's also a level of cool that you need, for superhero suits in particular. Any dope tech in general, of course. And if anything, when the other homie in red had his suit, he had a bit more of that. But I suppose because it was a metallic
Yeah.
look, and that's perhaps easier to pull off than Blue Beetle's material. But still, they could have polished it just ever so slightly. And yeah, they did have, I suppose, on the writing side of things, they had like the back and forth and the banter
Yeah.
with him and the AI, but
But
there's no actual character to the AI
Yeah.
itself. If you think of
Jarvis,
Jarvis and Tony Stark,
different universe, but this is
Jarvis feels like a character, and not this default voice that
Yeah.
So
This is like a default voice you choose to do your voicemails.
And not to mention, even on that front, the motivation as to why he was chosen.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you could say, hey, homie was taking care of his family, he's noble, he's sweet, whatever, cool. From what we gathered, the dad was doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Why was he not
Why
chosen?
is he different from everyone else?
Yeah, so we never got to the why
Yeah.
of that particular side of it. And
Because like if I look at Spider-Man: Homecoming and Blue Beetle as like similar type movies
Yes.
because similar age ranges, similar
yeah.
types of family being priority, and then also just gaining your powers. Where Spider-Man is a happy accident.
Yeah.
Here there was intention, as you're saying, and we didn't know what the intention was.
Yeah.
So that's
And also for me, to finish then with Susan Sarandon, as far as where I wanted them to take her character. At the end of the day, look, yes, she's rich. She's also a super capitalist. And she's hella racist. But I think, okay, the capitalist part, yeah, they kind of sort of stepped into that. But the racist part of it, and as crazy as this may sound, but just to highlight what an evil character she is, they didn't tap into that at all. There were those ads for that suit that she wanted to build that they had. And I remember they showed there she's mining in Guatemala, and then she's building in America. So there's a lot even to that, on some, and these people don't deserve it. We know what to do with this thing, all the typical things that are said by those people. And even as far as trying to push her way into, where those guys were staying, by the Keys, that neighborhood, and using those, using the people as pawns as well. That's another layer because in the homie's flashback, it shows that he was a little kid.
Yeah.
In
She
the middle
made
of
him
a
a child
war.
soldier,
The
yeah.
mom died, and then she took him in. She was like, "Oh yeah, perfect. Show something on some. This is what she does. That's her side hustle. Child soldiers. Child laborers, slavery, all of that story." So they didn't tap into that because the thing with the villain, right? There's two things you need to do simultaneously, and it's a delicate balance. First, you gotta make the audience root against them, and secondly, you need to flesh out their motivation so that to some extent there's an understanding as far as, oh, this is why they are the way they are. And I think on both fronts, one more than the other, certainly, it wasn't really, done the full justice. Jaime himself, what's your thoughts on him?
I think out of the whole movie, probably the best cast character. You could see the juvenileness of him. Where he just got out of varsity and whatever, and you still think the world is still sunshine and rainbows. And he portrayed that really well. And when there were emotional moments, you could feel it. But I just wanted a bit more here and there.
Yes.
Especially like your dad died, and then that sort of thing. Like there was some really, really sad moments in this movie that they could have pushed into. But on the whole, I think he did his job. He did well. I liked him. And as I said, if they are continuing with this universe into the new DCU, and I'm happy to see him flourish maybe under maybe a James Gunn direction.
Yeah, for me, I liked him. He was good, but I feel like it would have been so much better if he was great. At the risk of stating the obvious, or maybe I should say there were certain moments where I feel like missed opportunities, even with him and the portrayal, and I don't know. Look, of course, it's my first time, seeing Homie. Period. So I'm not sure, but if it's a matter of acting experience, if it was direction or what.
Maybe even language, eh?
It could be as well, Yeah, some elements maybe story, others definitely the acting, but between those two as well, I feel like there was so much more to be desired. And again, getting back to the family dynamics, right? Like those situations where I don't know, maybe show the family as they lose, all these things, from the
Yeah.
house to the shop, the dad's ill
Heart attack,
health,
yeah.
instead of just trying to sum it all into one little speech, especially one that wasn't as emotional that it was supposed to be, right? And then even throughout it, I don't know if it fully came across as far as him being the hope of the family. I think that's another
Yeah.
element that they could have, driven a little closer to home, just to make us really understand that, man, homie's like going through it, nothing is really coming together. Even on him, man, if he's alone in his room and like, I have to do something, otherwise my family's gonna lose it. Like, show that you're on the brink of losing it all, and that it really does rest on you. There was almost, I don't know, a bit of a rushing towards getting to the point where
Yeah.
he becomes Blue Beetle and all that. But again, George Lopez, I think, very well cast as far as
Yeah.
how he portrayed his character. Although my gripe then becomes, if he's this genius, engineer and all that, and the family's about to lose it all, what's his role where that's concerned? Is he, if he's someone that's maybe on the run, doesn't have as many options, that type of thing, okay, maybe it'll be understandable. There was a joke where he said, oh, next thing they're gonna ask for papers and whatever, whatever. Okay, is he maybe undocumented?
Yeah.
And there could have been something to explain, if he's got these capabilities, why is he not using that to the family's benefit? But one of the things I enjoyed a lot, crazy as it sounds, that scene where the dad had the heart attack, that had the emotional punch that I was looking for in so many others. In as much as you said, following from that, they maybe didn't
Yeah.
really
Look,
utilize it as much as
At
it's
the end of the
supposed to.
day, the whole point of the dad dying was to have that scene at the end where him and Jaime are bonding, and he's like, "Go back."
But there was so much happening between.
Between, yeah.
You're supposed to keep that thread
Yeah.
going.
And Jaime didn't even know because he's like, "Why are you here?"
Yeah.
It's like, like there you see that's where that emotional punch should have come.
Yeah. So that was my thing. But the scene itself, especially when you think of the building blocks of it, like the agents are all coming through.
The family stress.
Even there, dog, it could have been such visually, they could have done a lot more.
Yeah.
We've seen a fair number of, what's this deportation type of scenes where it really really hits hard, like people's homes are being ravaged through, people are being dragged out and all that. And I don't know, it felt like they were still trying to prioritize the more PG-13 side of things, as opposed to, even though you could still show that in a PG-13 element. And because it's like, and it's crazy because I mean at the time, I think it was probably still Biden in America. Yeah, but immigration has been a heavy subject, in America. So that could have been such a golden opportunity to bring that in. As painful as it would have been, it would have added a lot
Yeah.
to the story, the motivation, the build up of the scene. But okay, cool. They outside, they captured them, but he's now got a hold of his suit. He kind of knows what's what. And just as he's about to take them out, that's where they go, they subdue him. And then they grabbing the family, and the dad then just has his heart attack as they also trying to make the escape. So that for me is like, you've got all these abilities. Because there's a thing about superheroes where you're in a situation where there's nothing you really could have done to prevent that. Because technically speaking, if he was not subdued, what could he have done to prevent a heart attack? His dad's heart had already been failing in any case by the time we start off the story. So that, I think, as far as the emotional notes we're looking for, it came through.
Okay.
And then, after they kind of just, dropped the ball a bit. And I don't know about you, but I would have loved for the sister to have a bit more of a role to play, mainly because she got him that job when they were, cleaning the pool and all of that. And with her being such a cynical and him being the more hopeful one, I'm not even sure who's older between the two. If it was
He's
explicitly said
older.
or what, but it just felt like she had more of a pessimistic slash realistic, perspective.
I didn't vibe with it.
I
I didn't
wanted
vibe with it.
her like her to have more of a presence so that at some point maybe you could have a convergence, slash switching over of her being like, "Actually, okay, I kind of see where you're coming from, and this is why it's worthwhile having hope, that type of thing. If she was closer to him, they could have had that nice little turnaround, but yeah, they kept her lumped in with the rest of the family. I'm like, no, man, that was another opportunity to show some
She
great
wasn't.
character development.
The writing didn't do her any service.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, because I didn't like the way it was written.
Yeah, yeah,
Very sarcastic.
yeah. The entire time, and almost for
And
like
it's
no
not.
reason.
Yeah, and it's like not even funny. Like. Yeah.
And then what about Code Junior, the girl who's kind of at the center of it all, between both worlds in a sense, and
I mean, I don't know. Like, again, I would have liked. I mean, as you mentioned before, I'd have liked to see more of the relationship with her dad. You know,
that was needed,
why does the scarab mean so much to you? Why are you willing to risk it all? Why? At all we got was no one comes to my house anymore. My dad's the Blue Beetle. Okay.
And she said she hasn't been there since she was like 8 or something. And
Yeah.
it's like, okay, why
Yeah.
did you not go there? Like,
And like why like I want to see my mom's paintings. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Tell us about your mom then.
yes. Now it's kind of like the first time she's being mentioned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, for what she was given, she did do really well. I mean, that whole family hugging scene at the end, got the waterworks going, so give due where credit's due.
And that's the thing. If they'd hit those other notes properly, imagine then the payoff.
And
from
just
that.
the parallels between he has family, she doesn't have family, which they did touch on briefly.
Yeah.
It was like, what makes you so strong? It's because he does have family. Or,
Yeah,
there was that
it's-
line
it's-
that
it's
was
his
put in
love
there.
for the family that's helping to
that makes him
strengthen
so
him.
strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to see that parallel or juxtaposition rather between the two would have been nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, but other than that, no.
And going back to my, opening statement, the frustratingly watchable, like,
Yeah, arguably the death of the what's her name, Auntie Cord's nerd.
oof,
That arguably hit a little bit harder than the dad.
because of how they,
How they portrayed it. Also, you
Yes.
saw how throughout the movie, as a side of a side character, like, oh, I'm okay, I'm doing, I think what is right, and then eventually sees what he's actually doing. And then,
yeah. And even that whole thing that I said, where I'm like, there's a whole racist side to this lady that they refuse to just fully tap into. Like,
Because she didn't even call him by his name,
Sanchez.
yeah.
It's like, no, every time he tries, my name is this. At the beginning, there by the pool, when Jaime was like, hi, and then she's just, not at all acknowledging him. And
just her treatment of Carapax.
it wasn't the only person that she was even calling by the wrong, like that thing just kept popping up again and again. So but with Homie, right after he had also gotten this young little redemption moment on some man, I can't take this anymore, I'm just gonna, so that's why I say frustratingly watchable, because most of the required elements were there. They just kept dipping their toe in the water, barely even, supposed to just jumping in and going all the way
Make
through.
those little
It's
children
like,
cry that you want to watch the movie.
yeah, dog. Especially with the understanding that it's not just the kids that are watching it. We're also there, scrutinizing a little harder than they ever could. Not to mention at a later stage when they watch it again, they can be like, oh damn, I didn't catch that, I didn't catch that. But now there's hardly anything, to kind of go back for. So obviously it's been, a mixed bag as far as how we've been, breaking it down. But the story kind of called for it. There wasn't much of a choice. Any other elements that you want to touch on?
I think positives, I mentioned the things I wanted to, family as well. I think I'm okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I think even on my side, the only other thing, I did touch on it, but maybe to just emphasize, it's just the dad, man, his history and the Blue Beetle's origin itself. I would have,
Yeah,
certainly
like
wanted a lot more
like a
of
20-minute montage at the beginning,
Yeah,
showing the thing coming down.
yeah. And the story behind it, because again, in the opening sequence, they basically just showed how it went from tribe to tribe. But even with that, I think for them it was probably just a little artifact because
Yeah.
if it had never chosen anyone, then he's kind of the first of his kind where that's concerned.
Oh, what I did want to mention, the fight sequences were, I think, when it was one-on-one.
Yeah.
Those were done really well. I really enjoyed the choreography there. Yeah, when he's just doing the beat down of all the soldiers.
Yeah.
Yeah, enjoyed
Yeah,
that.
that I did like
Yeah.
as well, especially as you see him getting more and more
Yeah.
comfortable with the weapon and,
And then
how to
the what is it, the
use
legs,
it and
yeah.
yeah.
the pincers.
And with the sword and I think we'd be remiss if we didn't touch on that rage scene that he had before he tried to kill that other homie. That I actually enjoyed quite a lot because it basically embodies what I said I wanted from the other scenes, which is the emotion of whatever the hell
raw
is
emotion,
going on. And we know at this point it's fueled more than anything now by the dad's passing. And he's just going berserk and beast mode to the point where, that sentient that's been trying to get him to kill this whole time is now saying to him, hey man, we don't kill.
Yeah.
Because it's also not the point of convergence
Yeah, they've converged,
between
yeah.
the two. So that could have been another dope payoff if the other elements had been, polished just enough leading up to that. But that's one of the scenes where I was like, okay, I feel what homie's feeling. I understand, him trying to kill the guy and whatever. And like I said, if we understand what the person is going through and we see it and we sympathize,
Feel, yeah.
then you know that you've
Take
done
it from a good movie to a great movie.
yeah. If they just did that a couple more times, you would have been solid. But in spite of the richness of the story, they kept too many things one dimensional, for some silly reason. So we'll see if James Gunn feels like, bringing that into his world or what's going forward.
If, as we said, he is making a Lanterns movie, and if there are natural enemies, you might see it there.
Hopefully, I certainly wouldn't mind because, again, I trust him to take the storytelling to where it needs to be. Anything else?
I think that's it from my side.
Yeah, nah, same here, man. So out of 10, what you giving this one?
5, stock standard 5.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. I think it's pretty much a 5 for me as well. Obviously, not gonna crack our top 5. And then just to recap, as far as where we're at, we still have Man of Steel as our number 1. We got the Snyder Cut Justice League as number 2. Batman v Superman as number 3, and then we've got the Flash in at number 4, and then Wonder Woman is
Wonder Woman 1.
1. Very important. Yeah.
Go watch Wonder Woman 2 review if you want. But,
You can even watch the review, skip the movie. But I mean, hey,
that's the thing. Watch the review, then decide if you want to watch the movie. Spend 40 minutes over
as opposed
2 hours.
to 2.5 hours, and so that's pretty much it then from us for this episode. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, drop us a comment. Check us out on Instagram, the Phantom Geek Zone. Otherwise, that's it from us.
Yeah.
Catch you at the next one.
Peace.
Peace.